Hey, Josh again with you, StonyRidgeFarmer.com. Making a video today on removing and sharpening your bush hog blades. We were bush hogging for about 40 hours last week and hit a number of rocks and sticks, and we want them sharpened for next year. So here is a tutorial on maintaining and sharpening your bush hog blades and maintaining your bush hog so it functions good for years to come. So first we have a Woods BB72 bush hog. This bush hog probably has 100 hours on it. It's got a 6-year warranty, made by Woods. We're going to remove this hatch to access our bush hog blades. So before we do any kind of work on our tractor, we're going to ensure our brake is set, and I actually have the bush hog set down on jack stands. We may be getting under the bush hog at some point to access the blades, which are here, to loosen these 2 bolts under here, and this is to prevent you from hitting a stump, I'm told. So we're going to loosen those 2 bolts, but we make sure we're safe. Always safe on the farm. Lots of injuries come from the farm. So we've removed our hatch with a 9/16 inch nut, and we're going to loosen this nut, and this little retaining clip slips out. This piece slides forward and releases the blade. So we have our bolt removed and the retaining clip removed. In here is this piece. It slides. Now, it may not be this easy on your bush hog, but I always take a pry bar and place it on there, and we'll tap the pry bar and slide this piece here forward. So now we've tapped this piece forward. It slips off. Set it out, and then there are shims. You may or may not have shims. These shims simply slip off also, but sometimes they take a little bit of elbow grease. Okay, once you get those shims off, this bolt knocks all the way through, and that releases your bush hog. So you may or may not have these shims, but when I took my shims off, I found that it was a good idea to take some sanding sponge and go around the outside of this pin in order to get all the crusty, rusty stuff off of it. So now I've got my pin out. This is what it looks like. All I did was simply tap it on that end, and it fell through, and then your bush hog blade will drop off. And as you can see, the bush hog blade is in very rough shape. So I'm here at the bench grinder, and we're going to take our blade here, and we're going to put a nice edge on it. This is our bush hog blade. Also, you can see there's some crusties in here that will need to be addressed. I'll just clean it all up before I put it back together. Always clean your tools. Clean your parts before you put them back together. Don't take apart dirty things if you can help it. Don't put dirty things back together. So, got our blade sharp. Got a little divot right here. It's evidently got up against a rock or a stump or something like that. But got our blade sharp. We're going to move on to the next blade. And really, when I forgot to tell you, when you take your blades off, you need to pay attention. You can take your phone, snap a picture underneath there, which way they rotate. Okay, you got to put them back exactly the same as they came off. So remember that, which ends up and which way they rotate. Something you need to know. So one more thing you may want to do in finishing your sharpening for your blades is take a file and finish your blade out smooth. It's what I call blade bling. Okay, so you want this thing shiny and sharp, and when you put it back on, you want it to be beautiful. It should be right, smooth, and nice. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. So be a man, learn how to use a file, and finish things up nice. So now we've achieved maximum blade bling. Okay? Maximum blade bling. This thing will cut you. It is very sharp. Does it need to be this sharp? Probably not. It probably didn't come from the factory this sharp. But when you get out there and mow, you'll know right away that you've done it right. Because when you mow, it'll be smooth, straight, and even. And very nice. You can mow a little faster with a good sharp blade on your bush hog. So something that I might not have mentioned also, while you've got your blade off, there's a number on your blade that you may want to write down to keep with your tractor records, and possibly go ahead and purchase 2 replacement blades for your tractor or your bush hog in case you break one. You may have to order these blades, but if you already have them on hand, it'll save you a lot of time if you're halfway through bush hogging your fields. So it's good to have spare parts. You're going to break stuff. It's just part of farming. So I want to show you a little bit about how to use your file to achieve maximum blade bling on your blade. Blade bling, as we talked about, is getting that shine, that smooth shine, okay? So you want to take your file, take your finger, and you should probably wear gloves if you don't have very tough hands, but you want to go with the factory edge and only go in one direction, okay? So one direction. If you pull back, you will damage your cutting edge on your file and ruin your file, okay? The file should last for years if you take care of it. Keep it clean, keep it oiled, and maintain it. So this is all about maintaining your equipment. Some people may say, oh, this is unnecessary. Well, it may be unnecessary, but I'm trying to do it and do it right. And that's what being a man is about. Do it, do a good job, and do it right. So we're putting our pin back in. This is the most difficult part of this job. This sleeve goes over and secures our pin that holds our blade in place, okay? It actually goes this way, and then you slide it in, okay? And then once we slide this in, we replace this retaining pin. Now that went easy, but the other one did not go so easy. So you may have to do a little manipulation with the small hammer. Basically all the tools that I've needed to do this with are right here in front of me. Ball peen hammers, screwdriver, socket set, and I use a DeWalt Impact. Use a 3/4 inch to get the bush hog blade off, and I believe it was a 9/16 to remove the access cover. So I'm going to put this back together, but more on maintenance of your bush hog. Every 6 hours or so, you should be lubricating your wheel. Okay, here's our wheel, and there's our grease fitting. So squirt 2 or 3 squirts in there. Also this pivot should be lubricated. There's a grease fitting here. Okay, you want to check and make sure everything's tight and snug. Look at your bush hog blades and make sure they're not cracked. Make sure there's not oil spewing from your gearbox. There's also a fitting inside here. You'll rotate this around until you find it with the little hole, and you'll grease that. I'll also pull this off, and there's another fitting in there to lubricate that knuckle, and you will want to also put grease in it. I squeeze grease in until I hear it pop. Most of the time you'll hear a distinct cracking noise, which is the new grease penetrating and pushing old grease out, and that's when I need to stop. Okay, so that's what we're doing. That's how to sharpen your bush hog blades, how to maintain your bush hog. And again, this is just advice. This is not a there are different ways to do this, but this is advice because I've never seen a good YouTube video on what to do to maintain your bush hog. That's it. Stony Ridge Farmer